The Giza Plateau, located near many of ancient Egypt's famous landmarks, has long intrigued researchers. Apart from the monumental pyramids and the huge mysterious Sphinx, there was one very interesting feature found there. Erosion traces suggesting these mighty structures had been submerged for a long time, and not at all because of the Nile floods. Theories on this subject have skirted the edges of science for the last few decades, partly due to archaeologists Sharifa El Morsi and Antoine Guigala, who have been researching the necropolis at Giza for years. Their work provided evidence that this area could have been flooded by a massive tidal wave. There were even suggestions that the Giza Plateau might have been part of a vast lagoon at some point in its history. O konujda na szczędun bushun se the complete submersion of the pyramids and Sphinx radically changed the perception of these places' history. This can at least lead to the conclusion that if the Egyptian culture did not describe such a significant incident, perhaps its representatives did not see it with their own eyes. According to conventional archaeology, the Great Sphinx of Giza dates from around 2500 years before our era. Pay attention, it is believed that the construction of this monument began around the 26th century BCE and took another 100 years to complete. Dear ones, they also reached an agreement that this monument was built in honor of Pharaoh Khafre or Cheops, and even it was an object of worship for the sun god religion. However, when you consider the notes found by the archaeologist August Mariette in the late 19th century, it turns out that Pharaoh Khufu merely renovated the Sphinx monument. There were also no documents directly stating that it was he who had it built. That's why some people think the Sphinx could have been built much earlier than the reign of Pharaoh Khufu. Water erosion marks found on the Sphinx may suggest that the estimated time of its creation is it would be necessary to go back 1,000 years. 1,000 years of such history, which is completely unwritten and undocumented. It's hard to blame archaeologists for not wanting to take this path without very concrete and convincing evidence. Serious signs of erosion are visible on the Sphinx, as well as on the rock blocks around the pyramids of Cheops and Makarinos. Many enthusiasts of this topic suggest a connection with the biblical flood. And since there have even been those who suggest that if the Sphinx were to have been created during a forgotten period of human history, it could have originally been oriented in line with the Leo constellation. This would mean that the original construction date falls around 10,000 years before our era. It's worth mentioning here that this is one of the few buildings of ancient Egypt, or perhaps even of the entire ancient world, that is not covered in any inscriptions. Inscriptions like these can be found even in Göbekli Tepe, which is much older than the Sphinx. So, with a certain degree of certainty, it can be said that depending on the conditions, 3,500 years is not enough time for all traces of such writing attempts to disappear. In memory earlier, El Morsi and Guizal even stumbled upon sea urchin remains, so a marine animal that in normal circumstances it should not have been so deep inland. It is worth mentioning though that while El Morsi points out the remarkably good condition and minor details of the animal's exoskeleton, the vast majority of researchers believe that it is simply a very well-formed piece of limestone. Unfortunately, despite numerous theories and hypotheses about the striped yellow, it will take much time before scientists reach a consensus on this matter. Regardless of whether you look at the external or internal parts of the pyramid, much time will pass before we fully understand their history. What is your opinion on these structures? Are these relics from an era of unknown human history? Or perhaps, as archaeologists believe, these are remnants of the well-known ancient Egyptian culture? I invite you to share your opinion on this topic below in the comments section. I also encourage you to subscribe to our channel, click the bell, support our work, and of course I wish you all have a great day.